Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, we will discuss about equivalence relations. Okay, so why we need to see the equivalence relations? Because when we place some conditions such as reflexive, symmetric, and also transitive on a relations, we will reduce the number of examples that we can find, but we increase the amount that we know that we can prove about each example. So what is the definition? When we have R is a relation on a set A, we say that R is an equivalence relation if R is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. So remember, reflexive is for all A in A. We have A is related to A. Then this one is reflexive. The second one is symmetric. For all AB in A, we have if A related to B, then B is related to A. That one is symmetric. Then the last one is transitive for all A, B, C in A. If A related to B and B related to C, then A related to C. This one is the transitivity. Okay. So we go to the first example. We have this set A. We define a relation R on A. This is the relation, and we can check that this relation is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. And when we see further, when we have this set A, check 1 is related to 1, 1 is related to 2, 1 related to 3, and 4 is only itself. Okay, when we try to draw the diagram, so it's easier to see the reflexivity here. 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, and symmetric also 1, 2 to 1, much easier. Then you draw a diagram. And next example, when we have A is the set of integers. When we take two elements in A is related to B if A and B have the same parity. What's the meaning of the same parity? So if A is even, then B is even. Also the same when A is odd, then B is odd. So we have A minus B is equal to times K in C. Okay, that's the easiest way to see here. And we can check easily that this one is reflexive. Why? A minus A is 0. 0 is 2 times something, clear. Symmetric is clear. A minus B 2K. So we have B minus A is minus 2K. So A minus B is 2K. Then B minus A is 2 times minus K, and this one is also in Z. So this one is symmetric. And the last one is transitivity. So remember, when you have A minus B 2K1 and B minus C 2K2, then just add. Then you have A minus C, okay, is equal to times K1 plus K2, and should be this one also in Z when K1 is in Z and K2 is in Z. Okay, so we have our R here is transitive, and we have R is an equivalence relation. Another example 21.4, when we have A is the set of real number again, A related to B if the absolute value of A is equal to absolute value of B. So again, we can check, it's clear for reflexivity. Absolute value of A is equal to absolute value of A. Symmetric, is clear also. Should be very clear from here. Transitivity also should be clear because we have equality, so should be very clear. And we have R is an equivalence relation. And how about the symbol? Usually we use this symbol, and we can read this symbol as is equivalent to. Okay, And we go to the next one, next example, example 21.6. When we have A is this, R cross R, we define this relation. So A square plus B square equal to C square plus D square. We can check this relation is an equivalence relation. So reflexive A, A, B, A, B in R cross R, right? So this is our set. Is related to A, B. Why? Because we have A square plus B square is equal to A square plus B square. Should be clear. Then when we have A square plus B square equal to C square plus D square, we also have C square plus D square equal to A square plus B square. So we have this part is A, B is related to C, D. Then we have C, D is related to A, B. So symmetric, very clear. Transitivity, how? So I have A, B related to C, D, and C, D related to maybe E, F. Okay, so I have here A square plus B square equal to C square plus D square, and C square plus D square we have it is equal to E square plus F square from here, this part from here. So what we have here, we have A square plus B square is equal to E square plus F square. So what I have, A, B is related to E, F. So that's the idea how to prove that. Okay, and we have this relation is an equivalence relation. Okay, next example, example 21.7. We have three statements P, Q, and R, and we have A be the set of all compound statements formed by P, Q, and R. Then yeah, the logic is the same like when we have equality. So it is easy to check that it is an equivalence relation. Okay, next example, example 21.8. We have this set. Okay, and again, to make it easier, we see like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So when they are in the same blocks, then they are related. And yeah, we know that every element of A is a member of some elements of S, because we have 3 blocks here, and every element is belong to one of them. Then the elements of S are disjoint sets. What's the meaning? No two of them share an element of A. We see here. So okay, and we can prove that R is an equivalence relation. Should be clear, because yeah, we have every element here is related to itself, reflexive, symmetric also clear from here, then transitivity also clear. So we can prove that it is an equivalence relation. Okay, what is the meaning of this picture? So we have the concept of equivalence classes. So we have this definition 21.11. When we have a set A and this equivalence relation of A, for an element A in A, we define the equivalence class of A by this. So every element of A which related to our A here. Okay, and our element, this element A, is representative of this class. For example, we use example 21.12. We define this relation. We can draw with this diagram, and we see the class of 1 consists of this set, consists of 1, 2, and 3, right? It is equal to this set. Class of 2 is equal to this set. Class 3 also equal to this set. And the last one, class 4 is equal to singleton 4. So we have it is like we have one equivalence class here and one equivalence class here. So it's like we only have 2 equivalence classes. And next, example 21.13, when we have this A and we define a relation here by all of this. So we can check lah, this relation is an equivalence relation. And how to see the equivalence classes? Yeah, check again. One, what elements of A which related to 1, we have 1, 3, 2, and 4. Okay, 1, 1, 1, 3. Oh, 1 and 3. Yeah, 1 only with 3. Okay, and then so this one is also equal to class 3 and class 2, 2 and 4. Okay, yeah, should be this one is equal to class 4. Then how about class 5? We have 6 and 5. This one is equal to class 6. Okay, so that's the equivalence classes of R in A. And we have the next one, next example 21.14. When we have A is the set of integers, then we have these relations. We define when they have the same parity. Then we can find the equivalence classes. So for example, yeah, we try to see the diagram for example 21.13 is this. Okay, we can see there are 3 blocks here. And go back to example 21.14, the same parity, so the even numbers. So when we have this Z, we can divide it into 2 blocks. This part is even numbers, and this one is not even numbers. Okay, so that's the equivalence classes in Z with this relation. So the same parity relation. Why? Because again when you have this class is 0, so it is equal to the set of all even integers, and class of 1, it is equal to the set of all odd integers. Okay, next example 21.15. When we have A is the set of real numbers, we have 2 elements in A. A is related to B if the absolute value of A is equal to the absolute value of B. And we denote the equivalence class of A by this, and we see, and we take this, so it's clear. Only 0 which is related to 0, so we have class of 0 is equal to singleton 0, but class of 1 is equal to 1 and minus 1. Why? Because if we have this equal to 1, then A is equal to plus or minus 1. So only have 2 elements, this class, and so on. So we have in general, when we have A is non-zero real numbers, then we have the class of A is only this set. So there are infinitely many different equivalent classes in R, and each of them having only 1 or 2 elements, because of this condition. And next we have a property here. When we have this equivalence relation on set A, and we have 2 elements in A, A is related to B if only if B is belong to class of A. Okay, and this motivates us to define a partitions. So when we check again, when we have equivalence classes, equivalence relation first, then we see when we have an equivalence relation on set A, then we denote the equivalence class of X by this class. We see X is related to Y, that means the elements are related. Then the class of X and class of Y is not empty, because again when you have these 2, then they are the same, so should be not empty, and the classes are equal. So these 3 sentences are equivalent. How to prove? It is very easy. When X is related to Y, then what happened? yeah, X in here, right? So X in here and X also in this. So it's clear it's not empty. Then when you have X related to Y, because it is symmetric, then Y also related to X. Or when you have X related to Z lah, then you also have Z will be related to Y also from transitivity. So the classes should be equal. And when you have the classes is equal, then the two elements are related. So that's the idea how to prove this theorem. And how to prove this theorem, yeah, it is easy and we leave it for exercise. And we have the central properties for equivalence classes. We have three things here. First is non-empty pieces. What's the meaning? There is no equivalence class is empty. Should be clear from previous example also. We can see some example. And it is covering. What's the meaning? Every element of A is an element of some equivalence class. So remember when we have some blocks there, then it should be belong to one of them. And disjoint pieces, what's the meaning? Any two classes are either disjoint or equal. So cannot be only intersects but not equal. Okay. So if not intersects, then it's totally disjoint. If it is intersects, then yeah, it should be equal. So this is the definition of partitions of set. Yeah, we only try to imitate the three properties there. So we have non-empty pieces, covering, and disjoint pieces. For example, when we have this A, and yeah, we have these partitions of A. First partitions, we only take our A into one block, and the second one become two. And we see here, this will satisfy these three conditions. Another partition, another partition, another partition. So very easy to understand. And the next one, they are not partition of A. Why? For example, this one Q1, see, has an empty set, so cannot be. And the second one, we have 1, 3, but yeah, 2 is not there, correct? It's not one of them, so it's not covering. And how about the 3? See, they are intersect, but they are different partitions, so it's not disjoint. And how about Q4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the problem here is when we have our A is 1, 2, 3, so cannot be contain 4. So yeah, it's not a partition of A. And the last one is we cannot write like this, so we should make a partition here, a block. So we should add one more bracket if we want the partition consists of 1 and 2 and 3. So Q5, if we want to a little bit modification, should be 1, 2, 3. Okay. And next example is this. When we have we want to make a partition for the set of integers. For example, this one, the first block is only 1, second block consists only 2, third block here, and the rest here. Okay, that's also okay. And another way to make a partition here, we also can divide into 4 pieces. First is everything congruent to 0 mod 4. What's the meaning? Yeah, we divide by 4, then the remainder is 0. This part congruent to 1 mod 4. Then this one congruent to 2 mod 4, 3 mod 4. So this one also can do. So we have some partitions of the set of natural number. Okay. Why? Because yeah, every natural number is congruent to exactly one of the four numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. Next example 22.5. We have 15 different partitions of the set A, and we can make a list of all of them. And yeah, try to list them, and we can find the only one partition with one part. Yeah, because only one block. And 7 partition with 2 parts should be clear, because yeah, when you have one element, there are only 2 choices, so we can try to count it, and there are 7. And 6 partitions with 3 parts and 1 partition with 4 parts. So we have this example. This one example for partition with 2 parts, and this one is a partition with 3 parts. Why this one 2? Because 1 and 2. This one 1, 2, 3. Okay, should be fine. And next, we have this theorem. So we have an equivalence relation on set A here, and we have this one denote the equivalence class by this. And what is our P? Yeah, our P is the collection of all partition of A. So how to see it? To make it more clear, then yeah, we go to this example, but the proof should be okay. We leave it for exercise. Example 22.7, we have this A, set A is this, and R be the relation defined by this. It's easy to confirm that R is an equivalence relation. Why? Because when we try to draw, so here 1, and then I have 2, I have 3. So we have like we make like we have 2 parts here, 2 blocks here. So yeah, this one is the partition P4 from our previous example. Okay. Another example, when we have the same parity relations, we have 2 equivalence classes, and yeah, again, yeah, we divide into 2 classes. And next, this property, we have P partition of set A. We can find an equivalence relation such that the equivalent classes here are precisely the parts of P. So how to prove it? Actually, yeah, use whatever we have here. So we make, yeah, when we have a partition P of A, we make the relation by in common part. Yeah. So A is related to B if A and B in the same part. Okay, and it is easy to show that yeah, this is an equivalence relation, because imagine when you have they are in the same part. And yeah, when you have the same part, all of them are related, then it's clear that they are symmetric. Then transitivity also easy to see, and reflexivity also. Okay. That's the idea for the proof. And this is the last example. We have example 22.10. We make the partition here into 3 pieces. So we use this way. So x less than 0, x greater than 0, and x is equal to 0. So we have 3 parts here. This one only 0. This one is everything greater than 0, less than 0. And what is the equivalence relation? Yeah, we can see something like this. So this relation. So x comma y in Z greater than 0, or here. So it is easy to see that we can make an equivalence relation here. And the last topic for this video is about the transversals of equivalence relations. So this one is like the representative for every equivalence classes. So when we have an equivalence relation on set A, the transversal is the representative. So this is the example. When we have this and this, then again we can see the transversal can be 1, 3, 5, or 2, 3, 5, or 2, 4, 5. that's also okay. So just try to see the representative for each classes. That's the idea. And this is another example when we have this relation. Okay, so we can show that this is an equivalence relation, and yeah, we can see the transversal should be here. Why? Because again, when we take the floor function of a real number, then yeah, when we try to minus it with integer part of it, then we go back to here. Okay, so should be fine. And the advice, how to see the transversals, first is check every element is related to at least one element of T, then the uniqueness. So that's two that we should prove. Another example, when we have this relation on R cross R defined by this, okay, what is the transversal? Check again. So we make sure that they are inside of one of them, one class, every elements of R, R cross R, okay, and then we check the uniqueness, and we see that we have this T, our T is here. We can show that it is a transversal. Okay, maybe that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and hopefully can be you can understand it well, and see you in the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.